Hello guys, welcome to the CSS crash course. In this video, we will learn about the CSS transform property. My name is Kafui and welcome to my channel mods.dev. Please subscribe, like and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. With that said, let's dive in. The CSS transform property allows you to modify the appearance of an element in terms of its position, size and rotation without affecting the layout of the document. So in this video, we will look at some commonly used CSS transform functions that we can apply to an HTML element. So in my index.html file, I have my h1 and then this image that I have downloaded from unsplash.com. So we'll be working with this image. Even though we can apply the transform property to any other HTML element, we'll be working with the image element so that we will be able to visualize it properly. So in my style.css file, I'll go ahead and select the image using the element selector. The first transform function we'll look at is called the translate function. The translate function moves an element from its current position along the X and Y axis. So in order to translate this image element or this image, I'll just write transform and then I'll write the translate function, and then the values that will provide will move the element in both the X and Y axis. So I'll just write 100 pixels, then comma, then 300 pixels. When I save, you see that our image is being moved 100 pixels to the right and then 300 pixels to the bottom, and we can provide negative values as well. So when I provide negative 100 pixels and negative 300 pixels, and when I save, our image is now moved to the left negative 100 pixels and then to the top negative 300 pixels. So that's it about the translate function. Now when we want to translate our element on only the x-axis, we can use the translate x function, and then we will provide a value. So when I do that and save, so I'll provide a value of 100 pixels and save. Our image only moves in what? Only in the X direction. And I'll comment that one out, and we can provide negative values as well. And I can translate the element or the image in only the Y direction using the translate Y function. When I provide, let's say 200 pixels and save, our image moves only in what? The Y direction. And I can provide what? Negative values as well. So that's it about the translate function. The next function we'll look at, or the next transform function we'll look at, is the rotate function. The rotate function rotates an element by a specified angle. So still using this image element, I'll go ahead and write transform, and then I'll provide the rotate function, and then we provide a value in angles or in degrees. So I'll just write 45 degrees and save, and you see that our image is being rotated 45 degrees. When I change this to negative 45 degrees and save, our image is being rotated what? Both in the X and Y direction, negative 45 degrees. So let's say I want to rotate in only the X direction. I can use the rotate X function, and if I want to rotate in only the Y direction, I can use the rotate Y function. So you should, and then the values we provide to these functions should be in what? Degrees. The next function we'll look at is called the scale function. The scale function resizes an element by a specified factor. So still on this image element, so I'll just write transform, and then I'll say scale. Then let me save it first. So this is the normal image, so let me just say scale by 1.5 and save, and you see that our image is being scaled by what? The value 1.5. When I change this to, let's say, 1 and save, our image is still the same. So I'll just say 1. Let's say 8 and save. You see that it is being scaled by what? The factor 1.8. And we can scale in only the X direction using the scale X function, or we can scale in only the Y direction using the scale Y function. And we should provide what? A factor that we want our element should be scaled by. The next one we'll look at is the skew function. The skew function tilts the element or an element along the x and y axis. So let me demonstrate that to you. So I'll just write transform, and I'll provide a skew function, and then we provide a value in degrees. So I'll just say, let me just say 70 degrees and save. Now our image is being skewed or tilted by this angle that we have provided, and likewise we can skew in only the x direction using the skew x function, or we can skew in only the y direction using the skew y function. So that's it about some common CSS transform property functions that we can work with, or we can use to transform an HTML element using CSS. Now, in order to show you that we can use this on any other HTML element, I'll just select the H1 and just say transform, and then say translate. Let me just say 100 pixels and then 200 pixels, and when I do that and save, our image is now here. Let me just increase this to, let's say 400 pixels. So this is our H1 here. Let me just enlarge this. So our H1 is being moved to what? This position. And one thing about this transform property is that we can provide multiple functions to it in one line. So let me just comment this one out and save. So on our image element, I can say transform, and then I'll just translate. Let's say translate by 100 pixels, comma 400 pixels, and then I can provide the rotate function and say it should rotate, let's say by 45 degrees, and then when I do that and save, so this is it. So we can provide multiple functions to the transform property. So our image is being moved or translated 100 pixels by 400 pixels, and then it is being rotated by the 45 degrees angle. So we can do that, and then I can continue to maybe scale it with, let's say, a factor of 1.5 and save, and you see that it's being applied to what? Our image element here. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section for discussion. Please subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.